Yesterday I was in Poundland buying some mints, and it just wouldn't scan. It just wouldn't scan. I just didn't want to ask. I didn't want to have to ask the woman. These mints aren't scanning, mate. So I just was going to put them back, but then the woman came along and was just like, that's not the barcode. That's the logo of the mints. So okay, right, come on then. Hey guys! Now, if you haven't seen my previous video when I was opening my GCSE results on camera, and obviously if you have seen it, you know that it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best of results. I got G's and U's. I'm not going to get into it again. But a lot of people were asking me, you know, first of all, did you revise? How did you revise? And just things like that. So I'm just going to clear that up. And this is basically going to be like a how not to revise and why I did so bad, maybe. So just, if you're in the years below and you're about to check your GCSEs, this is basically, don't do what I do, alright? This isn't a how to, this is a how not to, okay? All I'm going to say. Right, secondary school. This, 5 years ago, 2012, I started my secondary school. Now, first of all, on the first day of that, I got shat on by a bird. And then, the day after that, I forgot all my books. A few days after that, I got hit by a car. So, it wasn't the best of starts to my life, entering that new chapter of a secondary school with, you know, where we do our GCSEs at the end of the 5 years. Now, that was just the start of the bad times. Secondary school, they were bad 5 years of my life. Just all bad things happened. There's very few positives opposed to negatives. Obviously, I met some of my best friends, so that's obviously a massive positive. But other than that, I was a nightmare. I was an absolute nightmare. I suffered from things like depression and anxiety, like a lot of people do. But yeah, so things like that. Because I was behind and I barely went to school. That is the biggest thing. I barely went in. And that is the main reason why I did so terrible. Because I barely went to school, so therefore, because I didn't go into school, I didn't know what was going on. So then, when I did go in, I was just disinterested. My brain wasn't focused. I was thinking about watching B-movie in the evening. I gave up at a certain point. I gave up and I just thought, what's the point? And then I had stuff going on like my mental problems, and so it was just a nightmare, really. So a biggest piece of advice I could advise, to go to school when you're meant to go to school, and if you've missed anything, make sure you catch up, because I didn't. And then there was a phase when I was Hannah Montana, and it just went on like that, really. And even though I was behind, I still I would try and like sit back and catch up over everything possible. Like, I'd go right to the beginning, but my mind would wander. I'd be thinking about food. I have the worst attention span ever to exist. I can't concentrate on more or less anything. And another thing is, I'm not an academic lover. I didn't want to do, like I'm doing at the minute, I've just started college, I'm doing musical theatre, so I'm like finally happy in a school, you know what I mean, doing what I want to do. But yeah, so I mean, I don't think anyone should take advice from me. I really don't, because look at my GCSEs, like. But all I'm saying is, if you don't want to do what I did, go to school. Don't be weird. Actually, be weird. Who cares? I was weird. See, my mind's gone blank now. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why is that camera there? I just have such a shit attention span. So bad. So bad. Someone will be talking to me and I'll forget they're there. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible. I'm like a moth. I revise, but in some lessons there'd be days where I'd be like, I'm on it, and I'd feel like Stephen Hawkins. But there's other days where I was just, you know, all over the place. I'd be having a mental breakdown in the toilet, and then I'd be like, oh, I've got maths over there and science over here, and it was just, my mind was just dancing like this, like completely away from what was going on around me, you know what I mean? That's more or less why I failed. I don't really take anything seriously or other than, obviously I take things, what I mean is I try, like, most of my life is genuinely just a joke / laugh. Try and see a joke in everything, and like a non-serious. I don't like being serious at all. So that's another reason why I struggled at a school. And I also went to a grammar school, which was maybe a bad idea considering my grades. But yeah, so it's mainly just problems. Like, obviously when I started at the beginning, I was telling you about how I got hit by a car. That was, you know, just and I got shat on the first day. That wasn't anything that, obviously, why I had a bad year. That was just the start of a bad year, you know. That was just the start of it. That wasn't anything, when that happened, I wasn't thinking this is going to be terrible. It just so happened to be. So yeah, just don't do what I did and you'll be fine, you'll be great, you know what I mean? I'd be sat there in lessons drawing like fish. Instead of doing, I had to do, the worst time of my whole life is going into a science lesson. I don't find anything as boring as science. Especially physics. I just don't see any point at all in physics. Like, if you do physics, you know, no offence, you're great. Not for me in the slightest. I'd just sit there. I think one time in physics I sat there making anagrams, like garlic bread. Like, I'd write garlic bread in all different ways and then I'd try and figure it out myself. Like, so all I'm saying is go to school, listen if you can. If you can't, I mean, if you really don't want to do it, just focus on what you want to do. I sound like some kind of public speaker. I'm not a public speaker. Right, so go to school, listen if you can. If you don't listen or if you don't go to school, try and catch up at home. Try not to get distracted by, because I used to just get distracted by anything. I get distracted easily. I'd get distracted by the tiniest ant in the corner, and then I'd start like playing with it, speaking to it, having a little conversation with the ant. But well, a lot of people are stressing. I stress everything. I stress over everything. I get stressed opening a door. I get stressed paying an Aldi. I get stressed at the self-service checkouts because I put something down and it'll say no. I think that's all I've got to say, really. Oh, I didn't get to film an outro because I'm just so rude. I didn't even think about saying bye. So, bye. I just thought I'd make one now. See you later.